Thanks so much, and thanks so much to Michael Beckerman for putting on this wonderful CRE Tech Reimagining Real Estate series. It's at this point in COVID, it's so important to our whole real estate community. So thank you, Michael. My presentation today is going to be really focusing on reimagining the office, reimagining the workplace. What is the future of office, and will people be working from home? And how much of their time will be working from home, and what's the purpose of the office? And that's what I'd like to take you through today. And I wanted to share with you some research that we recently have done that discusses the trends that we're seeing and what people are saying about working from home. Is it efficient? How many people would be working from home versus working in the office? And most importantly, what's so important about the office as a place for collaboration, a place for learning, a place for innovation, a place for a company's culture that is so important to organizations. So what you're seeing before you is our Gensler Research Institute put together this U.S. work from home survey. And the survey focused on 2,300 U.S. workers, and it covered a gambit of demographics from all different industries, from different, from boomers to millennials to Gen Xers, and different types of people that are working in the workplace. So here's the results of our findings, and it's very, very interesting. 12% of the population wants to work from home permanently, and about 30% say they want some type of flexible work environment. But on the left-hand side, 44% or close to 70% predominantly want to go back to the office. This is a really important statistic. And they want more space for social distancing, assigned workplace. So the workplace is going to change in its nature, in its density, pre-vaccine and post-vaccine. So workers across all industries agree, and we canvassed all different industries. The most important reason for coming back to the office is people, is interaction with people. It's about mentorship and coaching and the culture of an organization, the deep culture of an organization, and collaboration all around innovating together as a team. It's very hard to do on Zoom calls with screens like this. I call them Hollywood squares, where you're really not getting the emotion of the people involved, and it's very hard to in a collaborative mode to work that way. So the US population, especially 50% of the millennials, really, really want to come back to the workplace now. In fact, here's another chart. Collaborating and staying connected with others is being challenged by working from home. 74% people are miss most about the office. 75% of the people said that. 55% said collaboration is so important. And again, younger respondents are most likely to say they're struggling. They have roommates, they have small spaces they can't work in. They're constantly be distracted. Some people have young children. So it's really been a revelation that working from home does work for that 12% of people who don't have parents or roommates or kids at home. But definitely predominance, more than 60% of the population wants to come back to the office. As I said, younger generations are less productive at home, with less satisfied with the work from home experience. And here you could see some charts and some pullouts from the research we did that older workers like me are more likely to feel accomplished at the end of the day, and younger workers feel more stressed and report getting less work done. Half the Gen X, Z, and millennials are saying there's much, much more distractions at home, whereas baby boomers, it's much less. Well, maintaining work-life balance, much harder for the millennials, and which is so important to their well-being. And again, we're hearing over and over again, they would love to go back now to the office. The feelings of productivity, accomplishment, and stress show significant variations by different industries. And that's really important as we did our research. We cut across different industries across the US. And what came back is that the professions like legal, consumer goods feel less productive and more disconnected from their work. And those in media and technology report way more stress. You can see on the chart on the left, at the end of a typical day, I feel like I've made a difference. And clearly, if you're in finance or technology, who tended to work from home more before COVID, they're much more comfortable with working from home. Or compared to the office, I get less work done at home. You see in this chart, you could see, the government workers feel like I get less work done at home or legal and so forth. And then the last chart, working from home is stressful. And I can tell you, even in my life, working from home gets very stressful because of distractions in my life. Media and technology and non-for-profits are finding this incredible stress in working from home. Today's virtual works, and this is really important, I've been hearing over and over this from clients. Today's virtual system works because all of us, right now, all of you on this call, on this video call, are working from home. And so with everyone working from home, it's easy to connect, easy to know where people are. But once more people are back to work, 10, 20, 30, 50% of our workers are back to work, it won't be as spontaneous or as efficient or as seamless as it is right now working from home in this virtual situation. I can't emphasize that enough. What makes this so efficient is we're all available and all home. People expect to return to a different workplace, really importantly. More space, obviously, with the densification that occurred before COVID and now with the social distancing that we're going to have to be put in place. Less desk sharing, obviously, and increased support for mobile and virtual work are going to be the rule of the day. I'm going to take you through some of those trends in a minute around what it means to be going back to the office. So this is a presentation that we put together around strategies. Our clients are asking us around the globe, what are the strategies to go back to the office? So, and again, as I mentioned before, and this is really important to emphasize, what's the purpose of the office? And I talk to many CEOs, our researchers are talking to many CEOs and presidents of organizations, and it truly is about organizational culture. Sitting on these Zoom calls do not create organizational culture. Collaboration between people and coming together and coalescing around ideas is much harder to do on these Zoom calls. Creativity, innovation. Innovation comes when there's a diversity of ideas coming together. It's very hard to pull diversity of ideas off Zoom calls. Innovation. Younger people, the millennials, are looking for mentorship and coaching. Very hard to do over this medium. Productivity and obviously company identity are critical. So we put together these strategies, and the strategies we focused on were, and our clients are asking for, are immediate actions. What are the immediate actions we have to take to get back to the workplace? And then clearly, we're not going to see the vaccine take place for 6, 9 months, maybe a year. So what are the ongoing things that we have to introduce to lead the change in this time before the vaccine? And then after the vaccine, and this is what this presentation is all about, is the reimagined future. And I'm going to take you through lots of slides around what the reimagined future of workplace really looks like. So we see it in 3 incremental areas. First, the first stage is focusing on health. And we've heard over and over again about wearing masks, about screening and protocols, about cleaning and hygiene. Clearly issues around elevators and vertical transportation and how people are going to get to their spaces. And obviously physical distancing. And then leading a change where we are developing new space typologies and new ways of laying out offices, new ways of having people interact in offices, and I'm going to show you those today. As I mentioned, access and vertical transportation, new space standards, and all the infrastructure, for example, HVAC and cooling and heating of spaces and how that air is filtered. And then finally, reimagined workplace. And I'm going to talk about touchless and frictionless spaces, and so important as we're moving forward into this post-COVID world. The whole enhanced workplace experience. And now health and wellness, along with climate change, is just so important as we've seen over the last 6 months. Describing smart building applications. So first, I'm going to take you through a series of diagrams, and we're working with all our clients in this way. And clearly, we're seeing building access as being really critical. We're seeing our clients, and we're creating this for our clients, having only one entrance into lobbies, clearly through decals and floor decals and physical distancing guidelines. We're going to have people lining up to get into the office building through a central control point, or potentially you're going to have temperature screening, hand sanitizing, screening where you've been before you entered the office building. And clearly we're also seeing the opportunity, and I'll take you through some ideas around using your cell phone as a way to get just-in-time information of how to navigate your building that you're in, how to navigate the elevators, understand just-in-time information about working in the space. And then clearly we're going to see in the ground, especially on the ground floors, is these significant waiting areas for elevators. Because you know that elevators you can only fit 2 or 3 or 4 people on. We're seeing elevators as an area that will be a central focal point or choke point in getting up to the offices. So we see our clients now using apps. So we're designing apps for our clients that will allow you to schedule a time to get on an elevator. Just think in cities like New York or LA or San Francisco, how we have, you can have 10, 15 people on an elevator. Now the maximum capacity is going to be 3 or 4. And here you could see a diagram on the left that there'll be significant waiting areas on the ground floor where you can schedule your time to get in the elevator. And then also we're seeing with our clients that, especially for the first 4 or 5 floors of these office buildings, especially if it's a low-rise office building, we can use the fire stairs as exits. And so doors for fire stairs will be open, and people will either walk up and down and not wait for the elevators themselves. More diagrams around these immediate actions to be taken. Clearly bathrooms are an area where a lot of microbes are, for COVID are. And so we're seeing doors going to be propped open to the bathrooms themselves. Social distancing within the bathrooms themselves for compliance. And obviously bathrooms being converted into frictionless and touchless spaces with, automatic faucets, doors being propped open to get actually into the bathrooms themselves. The next one, number 6, is clearly building systems are extremely important around ventilation and filtration. We're seeing HEPA filters being installed. We're seeing this idea of outside air, more outside air being put into buildings. Buildings that have operable windows are going to be much more using, the operable windows and having outside air being put in the space. But we see HVAC systems and filter systems being essential, and advanced air filtration systems being essential to the future of office place, especially in this first phase as we go back. Clearly, wayfinding and signage is going to be a key issue moving forward, whether it's decals on the floor or information systems, digital information systems, letting tenants know exactly where to go, how to use the facility, obviously guidelines around cleaning and densification and so forth, which you see in number 8, which has been so emphasized by the CDC right now. And then moving forward, workplace entrances, the actual tenant spaces will also have front areas where there'll be reception areas, again, temperature taken potentially in those areas, cordoned off areas where the secure area on slide 9, where there will be secure areas for the tenants, separated out for visitor and or employee entrances. The lobbies will have queuing space you can see in diagram 10, and those check-in areas with floor decals. In the workplace design itself, specifically, one-way traffic as much as possible in the spaces. As I mentioned in slide 12, we're seeing the use of fire stairs, either for low-rise buildings or the first 4 or 5 or 6 floors of a building, but also between single-tenant floors on multiple floors, using the fire stairs to go from one floor to another, rather than waiting for the elevator, because the elevators are going to be overtaxed. We're going to be using the fire stairs a lot more for circulation in the space. Moving forward, the workplace open plan. And we have been heavily working with our clients in this. We have software that we developed that allows us to automatically space out people on plans and go-to plans when we're returning to the workplace. But clearly, the 6-foot distance is a major issue. We're also finding, I should say right here, in air filtration systems, that putting up 6 or 8 foot plexiglass between stations is not the solution. We're finding that now it's going to prevent airflow in the space and actually trap air and trap airflow within the stations themselves. So we're not recommending having high plexiglass partitions between people. It actually worsens the condition for airflow in the space. Conference rooms we're creating conference rooms for our clients where people will be coming in virtually. There'll be 3 or 4 people in the conference room, and you might have 12 people that are working in different locations or for home. So conferencing is going to also be key places for working virtually from home also. And then obviously food service will not be the open workstations and key stations that you've seen before. There'll be prepackaged food and very much heavily monitored. And what we've been seeing with our clients is the preponderance of indoor-outdoor spaces, wide open sliding doors, opening up many doors so that there's many indoor-outdoor spaces, creating terraces and courtyards and places for people to meet outside, which obviously we're seeing in all our major cities now with restaurants and retail spaces spilling out into our city streets. And we have developed a lot of tools that we're working with our clients. These are two in particular. One is called Spatial Analysis, where we're able to space out and organize people based on the density that our clients are looking for within the realm of the CDC guidelines. And then we have on the bottom right, we're using these special graphs to really track density and the hot spots where people are really coming close to each other that are trying to free up floor plates. So these are tools that we're using with our clients to really plan and pre-plan spaces. And then you could see, I'm going to shift now to the Reimagining Workplace, and I'll get into this quickly, which is discussing moving from the immediate actions on the left to the Reimagining Workplace. As I mentioned before, around touchless experiences, digital concierge, I'm going to be talking about it, using your cell phone. I'm going to be talking about living labs, density and security management, and clearly transportation, vertical transportation, and transportation being key issues. So I won't take you all through this now because I won't have time, but these are all our technology tools that we're working with, from sensors and tracking throughout spaces to potentially in the future autonomous solutions with robots, using different wayfinding devices and people finding devices and smart connected office buildings of the future. And I'll take you through this reimagined workplace. So we found through all our research and conversations with lots and lots of conversations with workers and our clients is that flexible working is going to be a key. That employers are making plans to offer flexible work environments, meaning a sense of choice, whether you're working in a workstation, a collaboration space, living room setting, or private offices, touchless solutions, and I'll take you through that with personal devices. Clearly wellness being a critical issue in the workplace. And then creating, and as I mentioned before, and we're hearing this over and over again, the idea is it's not about the physical space, it's about creating the culture and community of spaces that people are yearning so much for in working from the home scenario. So these are some quick diagrams that talk about, the key issues of creating touchless experience, from leveraging voice and gesture technologies. And these exist today where you can swipe your cell phone that has your personal information. You can get biometric feedback with scanning your face and understanding exactly where you need to move within the building. Again, scheduling time for elevators. Everything's automated in the future. We're designing office buildings now where everything is automated, from the front doors to the space to using gesture technology to be able to get into spaces. We're seeing dynamic digital technologies, and I'll take you through some of those. Obviously, isolating mechanical systems in the future by having personalization of the mechanical systems. And as I mentioned before, biometric security and check-in is going to be so important. Immediately, it'll know who you are, your preferences, what floor you're going into space, and imagine the efficiencies that can occur within that. Again, continuing on, as I mentioned before, voice gesture commands, mobile F&B ordering. You'll be able to use your cell phone to order food to be delivered outside the building so that you can go and pick up your food and so forth. And obviously, clearly in restrooms, which I mentioned before, are real issues in this COVID world. The whole idea of creating a touchless restroom experiences. We're designing restrooms right now where we're taking the sinks and pulling them outside the restroom so you can have wash areas with the bathrooms themselves that'll be near the lobby. Our teams are working on specialized area, and instead of the elevator being an area constriction, we see them as areas potentially in the future where we're using FAR UVC sanitation so that it actually cleanses you in the elevator, that the elevator becomes a place where when you get in it, you actually are refreshed and cleansed before you enter the space through UV light and sensors and so forth. So In the future, elevators won't be the constricting point. They'll be the area where actually it can be used in this kind of innovative way for sanitation and cleaning areas. We're seeing transportation systems used tied to your cell phone, dynamic parking, which is so important, from the parking areas, and rideshare information. Where are you going to be picked up and dropped off? How can you get your car pulled up automatically for you? Campus mobility. We're designing a lot of campuses right now with mobility. Smart garage systems, and obviously automatic bicycle and scooter storage, which in so many cities right now, scooters are the craze, and so there'll be storage areas for those specialty areas. Again, digital concierge, just-in-time information that comes right to you with building-specific information that provides personalized, real-time tenant and visitor services. And again, this isn't just the future. We're designing this for our clients now using this kind of digital concierge. Guidance to the safest entrances, exits, elevators, floor plans. Where are the best amenities in the building? Timely communications about building and employees and deliveries. And deliveries is so important in cording off delivery areas to our offices today and in the future. And enhance the amenity booking and reservations, including conference rooms. You'll be able to know what conference rooms are booked, who virtually will be checking into your meeting space. Digital dynamic signage is going to be so important. Fully integrated dynamic signs. We're creating this for our clients now that will be able to tell you information not only about the building, but clearly CDC information that's coming in, just-in-time information that'll be fed not only to your cell phone, but also through digital displays and messaging integration throughout buildings. Workplace collaboration, so important. Again, with some people still working from home and people working in the office, this idea of constant virtual collaboration and meeting space is going to be so important. And using augmented reality and mixed reality, where you'll feel like you're actually in the space, even from home. And I'll take you through those ideas too. Density and security management, clearly a key issue that can be done not only through decals on the right, that can be done digitally in the floor, giving certain signals to people on how to social distance and how to traverse spaces. Intelligent video capture enables automatic threat detection and alerts to inhabitants of buildings. And then connected and predictive building applications. This is so important in the future about connected buildings. Automated management of air quality, as I mentioned, so important, the filtration in air quality, temperature controls, and health and comfort, monitoring and predictions of buildings' maintenance systems. Well, in the future, we'll have autonomous cleaning bots and leveraging data and data transparency, again, directly to tenants. And then in the future, we're seeing and designing with our engineers right now, HVAC distribution where we'll have individualized control of HVAC, where the air supply and intake will be more individualized in the future. And we're working on these systems right now. In the meantime, we're recommending HEPA filters and more outside air changes for spaces. And now to close the presentation, I thought I'd take you through something that we're also working on is in the virtual world. And as I said to you right now, we're sitting on this call right now, and I call it Hollywood Squares for those of you who are old enough, where everyone's stacked up and we're sitting in our home environments, but we're not getting that visceral interaction that's required, that is so important to get that collaboration. So we have been working on the idea of creating a fifth place, a safe place that's seamless collaborations tools that creates a virtual office environment. So we're sitting with people in a work environment, especially as people go back, that there'll be people real time in an office, but you'll be able to virtually be able to sit in the meeting room with people. And we're going to do this through virtual reality and augmented reality and provide, hardware engagements and senses. So the idea is that you now can project yourself into the work environment and be able to be real time, either through holograms or through graphs, be able to be in the space so that the spaces, so these meetings that we're having are much more collaborative. The last slide here is just talking about how we get the slide on the bottom right. You could be having a real-time office in the meeting and have people virtually coming in to the same meeting, whether in a conference room or in the workplace. Again, we see this as a key feature to the future to make this interaction virtual from home environment really work. in conclusion is I've taken you through the immediate actions that we're working on and our firm is working on with all our clients right now about physical distancing and cleaning and hygiene, to the immediate ongoing pandemic issues of space standards and spacing and getting back to the office. And I also took you through the reimagined office and what the future of workplace can and will be. And I wanted to thank you for this time. We have many of these programs online on our at Gensler.com. I welcome you to please go on there and look up all the thought leadership we're providing across, not only across workplace, but across all different types of projects, including education, including tenant organizations like law firms and entertainment, also live entertainment like stadiums and arenas. Anyway, that concludes my presentation. I welcome feedback from all of you. You can all email me at Andy_Cohen, COHEN, at Gensler.com. Thanks so much for your time.